It was a peaceful Sunday morning on December 7, 1941, when the USS West Virginia, a Colorado-class battleship, was moored at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The crew was preparing for a routine inspection, unaware of the impending doom that would soon engulf them. At 7:55 a.m., the first wave of Japanese planes swooped down from the sky, launching a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base. The West Virginia was one of the primary targets, as she was positioned on Battleship Row, along with 7 other battleships. The Japanese bombers unleashed a barrage of torpedoes and bombs on the unsuspecting ship, hitting her with at least 7 torpedoes and 2 bombs. The explosions ripped open her hull, igniting fires and flooding her compartments. The crew scrambled to fight back, manning their anti-aircraft guns and trying to seal off the damaged areas. But it was too late. The West Virginia began to sink in the shallow water, listing heavily to port. Among the hundreds of sailors who were trapped inside the sinking ship, 3 men managed to find a small air pocket in a storeroom on the 3rd deck. They were Ronald Endicott, Clifford Olds, and Louis Costin, all firemen 2nd class. They had been working in the boiler room when the attack began, and had escaped through a hatch before it was submerged. They had no way of communicating with the outside world, and no idea if anyone knew they were alive. They had only a flashlight, a few tools, and some cans of food and water to sustain them. They also had a calendar, which they used to mark the passing days. They hoped that someone would rescue them soon, or that they could find another way out. They tried to keep their spirits up by talking about their families, their hobbies, and their plans for the future. They prayed for a miracle. But as the days dragged on, their situation became more desperate. The air in their pocket was getting stale and foul, and they had to ration their food and water carefully. They heard noises from outside, such as hammering, welding, and pumping, which indicated that salvage operations were underway. They banged on the bulkheads with their tools, hoping to attract attention. But no one heard them. They also heard other sounds that chilled their blood, the tapping of other trapped sailors in nearby compartments. They tapped back, trying to establish contact and offer comfort. But one by one, the tapping stopped, as their fellow sailors succumbed to hunger, thirst, suffocation, or despair. On December 23, 1941, 16 days after the attack, the 3 men in the storeroom made their last entry on their calendar. It read, "Merry Christmas." They had run out of food and water, and their flashlight battery was dying. They knew they had little time left. They hugged each other and said their final goodbyes. They closed their eyes and waited for death. They were not alone. According to some estimates, as many as 33 sailors may have been trapped alive inside the West Virginia after the attack. None of them survived. Their bodies were recovered months later, when the ship was finally raised and repaired. The story of the 3 sailors in the storeroom became known after the war, when their families received their personal effects, including the calendar. Their names are inscribed on a memorial plaque at Pearl Harbor, along with those of 105 other crew members who died on the West Virginia that day. The USS West Virginia went on to serve in several battles in the Pacific War, including Surigao Strait, where she exacted revenge on the Japanese fleet. She was decommissioned in 1947 and sold for scrap in 1959. The Pearl Harbor attack was one of the most horrific events in U.S. history, claiming the lives of 2,403 Americans and wounding 1,178 more. It also galvanized the nation into joining World War II, which would last until 1945. The story of the 3 sailors trapped in the USS West Virginia is a testament to their courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. They endured unimaginable suffering and faced death with dignity. They are among the many heroes who gave their lives for their country on that fateful day.